First, let's go to the NFL. Your specialty. I mean, you obviously know all the sports, but you played quarterback in the NFL. As you said earlier, you still work with some quarterbacks. And so Tua Tagovailoa, and I still always struggle with his name. But very nice season he had with the Miami Dolphins, his 4th year. He was healthy all year. And he's looking to get paid. And the reports are that the Dolphins do not want to pay him market value, which is around 53 to 55 million. Jared Goff got 53 million recently. Trevor Lawrence, who hasn't done as much as Tua, got 55 million. And I don't know what the Dolphins are offering, but let's say it's between 45 and 50, but it's below market value. So what are your thoughts on this? I have said, Sean, I'm on the record. If I were the Dolphins, I would not be ready to give Tua a huge contract because he's only been healthy for 1 out of his 4 seasons. And while he has put up numbers, he has been bad against winning teams. Past year was 1-6 against playoff teams, and his numbers were not good. As great as they were against the tomato cans, that's how bad they were against the playoff teams. And then he struggles in cold weather. And I mean just chilly. I don't mean freezing. I mean a brisk breeze. And brother struggling 45 degrees and below, he's 0-6. So I got questions. And so I want to see him get it done this year. I'm not saying we have to win the Super Bowl, but I want to see him play well against the playoff teams and play well in cold weather before I give him this huge contract if I'm the Dolphins. What are your thoughts?
Here's what's interesting, Chris, and it got him fired. But Brian Flores said this, 4 years ago?
Yes.
We can't win a championship with Tua as our starting quarterback. And the organization was all up in arms. They couldn't believe that their head coach didn't have the back of the quarterback that they selected. But he told them this years ago. Now, what's interesting is this is the first team to buck the trend. Because what's happened in the NFL is they stopped playing the player and started paying the position when it came to quarterback. So whoever the next quarterback was up, he got slightly more than the guy in front of him. You can't tell me that Trevor Lawrence is better than Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson, but the sequencing said his agent had to get a win. So whether it was guaranteed money or yearly average or total amount of compensation, it had to be in the ballpark. The Dolphins are saying, hey, man, the hell with that. Tua's not those guys. He doesn't have that kind of transcendent talent. We don't think we can win games in spite of not surrounding him with a great, group of support and players. And because of that, we got to save some cap space. So I want to see if this is going to become a trend because the complete opposite happened at running back. Instead of paying the player, they started saying we're not going to pay the position, no matter who the running back was. Now, it'll be challenging once McCaffrey comes up. Yeah, but he was before the trend started.
But, I mean, he just got extended at pretty good money. Yeah.
So I agree with the Dolphins. I'm not going to be pigeonholed into giving that percentage of my cap to a guy that I don't think's transcended.
I was going. Well, okay, so you pretty much agree with my take on Tua. So to me, he has a huge decision to make because I think he can do one of two things. He can, if let's say they're offering him between 45 and 50. It might be around 45. That's what Kirk Cousins got. Mm-hmm. But let's say it's somewhere between 45 and 50 a year. If look, he can be upset all he wants. And I get it. In our business, we have contracts. We negotiate too. Mm-hmm. All right. So I get you feeling you should get more money than they're offering. And that's something that you have to deal with one way or the other. But if they're offering him that much money, he could take it and then look at it and say, I have great weapons, right? Both in the backfield and on the outside, the wide receivers. I've got a very good offensive coach in general. I think McDaniel's good. I'm in a great location. It is warm here. And I've got the security because looking in the mirror, I have been injured and I am smaller. So you can either say, all right, look at all those things and take that money that's below market value, or you can say, I'm going to go out, stay healthy, which obviously isn't always in your control, but stay healthy, play great, and kind of bet on myself. The challenge with that, Shaun, is that even if you could go out and have a phenomenal season, and maybe if you do play that well, they wouldn't do this, but they could franchise you. So it's not a guarantee that even if you win the MVP award, that they're going to pay you market value. So what do you think of that? Like, if you're in Tua's shoes, I got to be honest, that first option, as angry as you might be, doesn't look bad.
Listen, if I was managing Tua, I would say we're going to go buy us one of those Mercedes Sprinter vans, and we're going to park it in front of the Dolphins facility, and we're going to overnight until we sign this deal. You're not tall. You're not athletic. You don't have a big-time arm. You live in Miami, in the state of Florida, where there's no state tax. You have Jaden Waddle and Tyreek Hill as your wide receivers. You got Devin Achane, Raheem Mostert at running back. You've got an offensive-minded coach that's cool as a fan. And Mike McDaniel?
McDaniel, yeah.
I mean, come on. What's the difference? Come on, Chris. For a guy that really doesn't have any elite trait, $40 million a year, man, look, you won. You beat it.
And I don't even think it's that low.
Yeah.
I got to believe
and I'm
it's
just throwing that number out there.
Right,
I mean, come on, man. Who cares what those other guys got? You far surpassed and superseded your talent level. Like, we're not saying like this is Josh Allen.
Right.
I mean, come on. Tell me, what elite trait does Tua have?
Yeah,
he's short. He's not athletic. He doesn't have a big-time arm.
And he's injury prone. I mean, maybe injury prone. Now, he has been. I don't know if he fully is, but
so
hopefully going forward he'll stay healthy. But
this is kind of one of those things where you have to be strong-handed with your agent, because your agent has an obligation in the market he's in.
Right.
It looks bad on him if these other guys are getting this deal and he allows you to settle for this one.
Yeah, and look,
I'm taking what's on the table just because I've got to be honest with myself about who and what I am if I'm Tua.
And look, the best quarterback in the league, Patrick Mahomes. Now his deal is strange because they keep, they can keep changing it, right? But he makes about $45 million a year. Now I think he'll end up getting more, you know what I mean, as they shift money around and make sure he gets paid. But he's getting $45 million a year. I'm looking at this. Mahomes would earn an average $45 million per season until 2031. Mm-hmm. Now that's when his so he'll get more, but I don't know. I think you make a lot of sense. And I get Tua wanting the bag, the full bag, because this is a bag in itself, that's for sure. I get where the Dolphins are at. You and I are in lockstep on that. But he does have, what if some bad team is willing to pay him?
Yeah, but
and then you go to a situation where you don't have elite receivers. They're expecting you to carry them to contender status, and you fizzle badly.
And you do it for what? Maybe the same amount of money, depending on where that team is?
Because you're right, the taxes
if you go to one of these states with that 11, 12, 13% state tax, and the money ends up being what you would have gotten in Miami, this is how I would play it if I was Tua. And I don't think a lot of current athletes look at it like this. How much money is enough money? I mean, come on. If you get $160 million on this deal instead of $210, I mean, come on, man. You're in Miami. Everything's already paid for. What I would be trying to do if I was Tua, I would be making sure that me and Mr. Ross were tight. And I would be whispering, hey, when I finish, I'd love to be assistant GM. And I'd be already working on my transition. I'll take some team-friendly deals to be able to stay around the game and be in a position of power when I finish. Like, think long-term. Look at the macro approach, not the micro, because he's not that talented, Chris. If it wasn't for McDaniel kind of resurrecting his career and them going out and getting Tyreek Hill, Tua might not even be a starting quarterback right now.
I will give him this. He has won, like, regular season games.
Yeah, everybody wanted Bama.
No, I'm talking about in Miami.
Yeah, they've been okay.
Like right, I'm not saying he's lit the world on fire
Yeah, they've been
with
okay.
wins, but even when he was his first 3 years when he was getting injured, he still was winning games at a level they didn't win at when he was injured or when there was another quarterback in there. I'm not saying he's elite. I'm with you on that. That's why I'd be hesitant to pay him. But I've told Rob this many times. There was a time years ago when I was at ESPN and I got offered more money to go elsewhere and I did not take. I stayed at ESPN. I liked the situation I was in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was happy. I was, everything was great. Obviously, you're getting a lot of exposure at ESPN. And I was like, why would I go somewhere else, even if it's a little more money, if I'm not going to enjoy what I'm doing as much as what I'm doing now? And so I'm with you. You're right. And I remember when LeBron was going to Miami from Cleveland. And initially, he was willing to take less than the max. They ended up doing a sign and trade, so he got the max. And people around LeBron they said to me, look, there's nothing you can do, and these were the numbers at that time. There's nothing you can do with $19 million a year that you can't do with $16 million a year.
Right.
And that is the truth. And then when you throw in the state tax, you're right. Now, I don't know what they're offering him, but I can't imagine it's below $45 million a year.
And here's the thing. If you play it the way that you were saying and bet on yourself, you're at the mercy of whoever decides that you're that guy. You don't get to pick and choose. He's not like Aaron Rodgers who can kind of go to Green Bay and say, I only want to go to these two spots. Right. Like on the free agent market, I mean, I don't know how valuable Tua is. I think he would be, I'm just going to say this. Sometimes you got to be honest with yourself about who and what you are. And know that if you get a $40+ million a year bag, you overachieve based on the natural gifts God gave you.